Everyone, this is David with Keiryu. Thanks for tuning in today. Today I'm going to talk about this rod right here. This is the Nissin Royal Stage Tenkara rod. We're going to look at the 7.3 action and we're going to look at the 6.4 action. I'm going to provide my general overview of this rod and what I think about it. We're going to put a bend on the rod and compare the action of the 6.4 versus the 7.3. We'll also take a look at how that compares to other rods, other Nissin rods, and maybe just the category in general. We'll do a little casting. And then we'll talk about the use case for these rods and we'll have closing thoughts. So let's get into the specs for this rod. So the basic specs are this is the 12-foot rod, collapsed, it's 22.3 inches. It's lightweight, it's 2.3 ounces for the 6.4 and 2.66 for the 7.3. And the CCS is 13 pennies for the 6.4 and 17 pennies for the 7.3. So we'll talk more about the CCS rating here in a little bit. Let me start off by just giving my general thoughts on this rod. Nissin introduced this in 2014, so this rod has been around for a while. When they did it, they were targeting really newbie Tenkara anglers, but also Tenkara anglers that were discerning and wanted something good. So Nissin positions this rod as really high quality at a value price. It's really a cost performer in their lineup, and it is among their more popular rods, and it's very popular in Japan. And I think there's a reason for that. I actually just gonna go right to the bottom line here. I think this is a fantastic rod and a fantastic deal. This was my personal Tenkara rod when I would use a Tenkara rod for many, many years. I still kind of gravitate towards it just because I got used to it. My personal opinion, most rods do not cast as well and do not feel as well as the Nissin Royal Stage. Most rods. So to me, this is kind of a baseline rod. If you're better than this rod, then you're really good, but most rods aren't. What do I like about this rod? It's lightweight, so you're talking around 2.5 ounces, a little less for the 6.4, a little more for the 7.3. That makes it a delight to cast. The cork, which Nissin says is premium cork, I'll take their word for it. It is very nice. It's not Portuguese cork, but it's very nice. It's got a nice concave shape to it. Feels really good in the hand. The other thing I like about this rod is the screw cap. It's rounded. You can kind of put it in your hand and it kind of pivots, and it really, I actually like casting it like this a lot. Ooh, very nice. Overall, it's well balanced, it's accurate, and it's just a joy to cast. So great overall rod. The aesthetics are nice. I personally like the kind of the green and black look to it. Like I said, the screw cap, at first you might look at it and think, well, this is just really kind of cheapy plastic. The plastic keeps it lightweight, but it's really the shape. And this is something that I would actually look to incorporate. It's just another nice added feature and benefit. The rod plug, I guess here, is aluminum. It's nice, nothing special, but functional, and it kind of, has the gold accent, looks good. So let's put a bend on this rod. Let's compare the action of the 6.4, the 7.3, and talk about that in the use case. Okay, so we saw the action of the rod, the difference between the 6.4 and the 7.3. We also did a little casting. That was with the 7.3 rod, by the way. You can tell in that video, I think, that there's definitely a difference in the action between these two rods. It's not as pronounced as the Nissin Keiryu rod that I did before this video. That was a huge difference. This difference is about 30%. It's still a healthy difference. The absolute numbers, people often say that Nissin rods tend to be on the low end of the CCS ratings, and there is some truth to that. If you broaden the scope and you look at more rods, and especially some of the other US manufacturers or brands, the numbers tend to go up. And I would say it's more of a range of 19 to 23. So yes, Nissan might be a little bit on the lower end, but it works. It makes these rods really nice to cast. This gets us into really the use case for these rods. Well, let me say one more thing. Let's go back to the chart. And I do want to point something out. It's important, in my opinion, when you're thinking about these rods, to really try to quantify what the action is. You're really buying an action to match up with your fishing style, whether that's subsurface or top water. And just looking at the ratings, the Tenkara ratings can be misleading. You can see here that the 6.4, the 6.4 Keiryu is a 24 CCS, which is way higher than these other Nissin rods that are 7.3. So it can be a little misleading, but the CCS numbers and the RFI numbers don't lie. So my advice for people who say, hey, I'm really just looking for traditional Tenkara fishing, I'm going to be doing kabari, I'm going to be doing kind of wet flies and dry flies, then the softer action rods probably are better. They just load really nice. They cast really well and easy. Something in the 13 to 15 or 16 penny range, maybe 12 to 16, let's call it that. Whereas someone looking for, both topwater and nymphing, more well-rounded, I would say 17 to 23. And then someone who's really focused more on getting deeper in the water, more Keiryu style, then that's going to go above the 24 penny rating. Like our Inyo rod, that's 28. That rod will still cast topwater kind of floating lines really nicely, but it does give you the backbone to get deeper and get some bigger fish. So in terms of use case between these rods, the 6.4 is really going to be your more traditional kabari, topwater, dry fly rod. You can do light nymphing with it. The 7.3, what's beautiful about the 7.3, I think, is that it gives you a lot of that, or pretty much all of that. A little bit snappier of a cast, but a little bit more of a fast action for those nymphing or dry dropper situations. So if you're gonna do a little bit of both, I would say 7.3. If you're gonna do primarily just dry and kabari, I would say 6.4. That's my opinion. Those are just my thoughts. Overall, this is a great rod. And people often ask me about parts. Parts are available for this rod for sure. And we've had very few instances of issues with this rod. Very, very few. It's a high quality rod, well put together, great materials. Like I said, Nissin touts the cork that they use, feels really nice. And I think that's about it. That's my wrap. That's my takeaway on this rod. Call us, email us, DM us, let us know down below what questions you have. And I appreciate you watching this video. Please like and please subscribe. It really helps us out. And have a good fishing season, guys and gals.